Grizzly River Run is the river rapids ride at Disney California Adventure. This ride takes place around the stunning Grizzly Peak, and unlike most rides of its kind, this one features multiple drops. This is why I think it's one of the best rapids rides out there, and I'll explain why in this review. River rapids rides increased in popularity in the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s. In 1999, Disney's Animal Kingdom opened Kali River Rapids. This was an Intamin River Rapids ride, and the first time a ride of its kind had made its way to a Disney park. The ride was extremely well landscaped while offering a message about conservation, but the signature element was a 30-foot or 9-meter tall plunge towards the end of the ride. It was the first time an element like this had been added to a rapids ride, and the ride was well received. When Disney California Adventure opened in 2001, it would also feature an Intamin-built river rapids ride. This one would be named Grizzly River Run. The ride would be built around Grizzly Peak, a 110-foot or 33.5-meter tall man-made mountain. The highest point would be shaped as a snarling bear. This looked incredible and has served as the central icon for California Adventure. Not only was it one of the first things you saw when you entered the park, but it was unique for a Disney mountain because guests could walk all around it. This meant it needed to look great from all angles. The ride's premise was that Grizzly Peak was once mined by the Eureka Mining Company. Once the mines were tapped out, the buildings were abandoned. Years later, the old infrastructure was transformed into a recreational facility for those into extreme sports. About a decade ago, the references to extreme sports were eliminated. The ride is now themed as Grizzly Peak Recreation Area, a national state park with Class 5 rapids. I love this ride's entrance. There's a giant grizzly bear statue holding a paddle. Usually, he is wearing a life jacket, but around Christmas time, he will instead wear a festive holiday sweater. This ride has good capacity for a river rapids ride. Each boat holds 8 guests. The ride has 30 rafts, and there are nearly 24 on the course at a time. This ride utilizes a turntable load platform. This is continuously moving for capacity purposes, but the park can stop it if guests need more time to load or exit. As with many river rapids rides, this ride's line will spike midday. This is especially true in hot summer days. Between noon and 4 p.m., this line can hit the 60 to 90 minute mark. If you want to avoid these waits, you have several options. 1. Head here early in the day. Not many people make this their first stop. Although, I think you're better off using rope drop time on something else. 2. Head here in the evening. Not many people want to ride this once it starts getting cooler, but you can often walk right onto it. And there's a chance the boats won't be fully loaded at this time of the day with the reduced demand, making it less likely you'll get absolutely soaked. 3. Use the single rider line. I've had great success using this, and I've never had to wait more than 5 minutes. That's even true in hot summer days when the standby wait exceeds an hour. This ride needs to pull a lot of single riders because of the 8-person rafts. 4. Grab a lightning lane. This is the most efficient way to ride as a group midday. You book a 1-hour time slot for this ride in the park's app, and you shouldn't have to wait more than 10 to 15 minutes when you return. You can book Grizzly River Run once per day. One final touring note is that this ride often closes for its annual refurbishment in the early months of the year. Don't be surprised if you find it closed for several weeks in the January to March timeframe. I get why Disney does it during this time because these are the cooler months of the year. Once seated, guests are secured by individual seatbelts. These rest across your lap. Now, important note if you want to keep things dry. As with most Disney rides, everything must ride with you. Fortunately, Disney offers complimentary lockers adjacent to the ride's entrance. This will keep your belongings safe and dry. These are free for 2 hours. As with most water rides, you must have something on your feet. And a tip if you want to avoid soaked shoes, you can wrap your feet in plastic bags. This admittedly looks ridiculous, but it feels a whole lot better than walking around in soggy socks and getting blisters. This ride begins with a slow turn. During this, you will hear the ride's safety instructions in a few different languages. There isn't much theming here, but the landscaping and rock work is beautiful. Then you pass under a former building for the Eureka Mining Company, and then you have a long conveyor belt up the mountain. This lift intentionally makes these rickety sounds. Along the way, you pass under a few leaky pipes that'll get you mildly wet. Once at the top, you head into the river. The awesome landscaping continues with even better rockwork and plenty of tree coverage. Then you hear a ferocious roar, and in front of you, you will see the iconic Grizzly Rock Formation. You then hit a small rapid. This will hit a few riders with a trickle. Then you enter a cave for some more turbulent rapids. These really bounce the boat, but they don't produce more than a small splash. But this part does feel semi-intense because you have a waterfall loudly splashing next to you, and you also hear the bear's roar echoing throughout. Now there is a rapid once you get outside that can create a sizable splash with a full raft though. Next you have a slow turn outdoors. You pass some more large-scale rocks, and eventually an abandoned kayak. Why? Because there's a drop up ahead. One note about the drops in this ride is that you can often be held at the top for several seconds for blocking purposes. The first drop is a small plunge that's about 1 story tall. It's not too thrilling, but it does have a fun near miss as you duck beneath the rock formation. Then whoever went down backwards is going to get very wet on the resultant splash, especially if you have a heavy raft. You then head into another cave. Again, you'll hit some rough water here that'll really bob the boat. You also have the bear's roar echoing once again, and these rapids don't get you too wet. But there is one once you head outdoors that can get a few people decently wet. The next bit has some more intimidating looking rapids, but they don't cause more than a small splash. But don't worry, there is still one more element up ahead that can get you wet. The second drop. This is the larger of the ride's 2 drops at 21 feet or 6 meters in size. This isn't large compared to coasters or most log flumes, but this feels much larger in a rapids ride where drops are pretty rare. The drop is shallow, so you don't have much zip to it, but it is a thrill nonetheless. This is because the rafts are spun wildly right before you enter the drop, so you're spinning like a top while dropping. This is not only dizzying, but it builds up the anticipation, because whoever goes backwards will get the wettest, and there's no way to tell who that'll be. The splash isn't as big as the first drop, but it will get you decently wet, especially with a heavier boat. It is also worth noting this drop passes under a turn earlier in the ride that'll hit everyone with a sprinkle anyway. You then round a turn past a series of geysers. Most of them are off to the side. Usually these ones emit a constant mist that'll hit the boat, but every so often a giant geyser erupts from the trough that can soak the raft. I've seen this effect disabled on cooler days, but it can be quite the surprise in warmer months. Depending when it goes off, it can be the most soaking effect in the ride. On the days when it's active, it will not hit every boat. It's random when it goes off. You then return to the station and disembark, ending the nearly 6-minute long adventure. In terms of overall wetness, I would say that half the boat comes off gently splashed, but the other half is likely far wetter because of the drops in a rapid or two. The most soaking ride at the resort is far and away Splash Mountain if you're in the front of the log though. Then in terms of pacing, this ride is quite good for a rapids ride. The ride starts slow with the early turn and lift hill, but everything after is engaging. One other fun quirk about this ride is it's a common resting place for the cats at Disneyland. I've spotted a few of them resting there by the greenery in my visits. So, what would I rate Grizzly River Run? I would give this rapids ride an 8 out of 10. This is a great rapids ride. It's a visually stunning experience as you float around Grizzly Peak. The rockwork is stunning, and the landscaping fits right in with the national park vibe. Then the waterways are turbulent while atop the mountain. The splashes are not too large, but the raft is rocking very noticeably on the rapids. But the highlights are the drops, especially the second one when you're spinning on the way down. And it's a game of Russian roulette who will come off the wettest. I always make sure to ride this when I'm at California Adventure, especially if I can find a short wait with single rider or in the evening. This really is one of the more unique rapids rides out there. So those are my thoughts on Grizzly River Run at Disney California Adventure. What are your thoughts on this ride? Is it one of your favorite rapids out there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.